Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are on day 2 of LeetCode every day until I find a job. Um, Today we're going to do reverse the linked list. This is an easy problem, and in my personal experience, this is one that comes up a lot. And I think this is probably something that everybody should more or less have memorized, or at least have a really strong understanding of how you reverse a linked list. So basically, given a head of a singly linked list, reverse the list and return the reversed list. So you can see in this diagram here, this is our linked list. We want to actually return with 5 being the head and everything reversed. And then always read your constraints. So basically, this is what they're looking for. They want, that we start with 1, points to 2, points to 3. We want 3, points to 2, points to 1 in the SAR head. I'm going to diagram how you do this first, and then I'm going to explain how I did it. Or then I'm going to get into the code. So the way that I like to solve this problem is I'm going to create a node, and we're going to call it cur. And to start off with, cur is just going to be equal to head. And then I'm going to create a node called previous. And that's just going to point over here to null. Or well, it's just going to equal null. And then I'm going to have a next node, which will point at cur's next. So basically, the reason you have to do this is the first thing we want to do is we're going to need to make this head node point to null. But if we don't have something else pointing at it, we will lose where it is. So you need to use all of these so you can keep track of the nodes as we reverse it. So the very first step is, we're going to actually want to check, does 1 point to anything? Because if this head node doesn't point anywhere, we just return the head node. That is the reversed list. You can imagine if none of these were there, well, then it already is reversed. So we're going to start. The first thing that we're going to want to do is in cur's next. We don't want to point to 2 anymore. We want to make cur next point over here to the previous node, which currently is set up to be null. The next thing we need to do is we will just kind of one by one increment these so that we don't lose anything. So we'll make previous point to current, which current is set to the head node right now. We're going to have current equal next, and we're going to have next equal next, which is here. And then repeat it. So we're going to have cur next, which cur is 2 now. We're going to have cur next, point to previous. We're going to have previous point to the current node. We're going to have current point to the next. And then we're going to have next point to next, which is going to be a big old null over here. I should have wrote earlier. Sorry about that. And then we've kind of gone through everything. So the final step, this is basically what the for loop's going to do. The final thing is we're going to make cur point to previous. And then we just need to return cur. So this is kind of how I like to solve these problems, is you want to think through it first and then turn it into code. So now that we have those steps all listed out, this is going to be really simple. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create the cur list node, which is just going to be set to head. And then we're going to create our previous list node, which is just set to null. So it's just a new list node, has no value. And we'll set it to null. And then before we create the next node, we should check if next exists. So if head equals null, we'll just return head. And we'll actually want to do if head equals null or if cur.next equals null. We'll want to just return our head. And then we'll create the list node for the next pointer, which is just equal to cur.next. And then we have our while loop. So when I was going through all of this, you can think, what was the condition that broke this? It was once next is null. The other way of doing that is when cur.next is null. So I'm going to just say while cur.next not equals null. What do we need to do? We need to set, remember, we need to set cur equal to next, and then we just kind of, or cur equal to previous, and then we go down the line and increment everything. So cur.next equals previous, and then we have, previous equals cur equals next, next equals, next equals next.next. And that'll do it for our while loop. And then what did we have to do after the while loop? We needed to put cur.next to previous and return cur. So we're just going to do cur.next equals previous and return cur. And that should solve this. So if we run it, should pass those test cases, and go ahead and press submit. Okay, I can't think of any edge cases that this doesn't work on, and look at that, beats 100%. We're out of our analyze, but this will run in O of n because of the while loop there, which is the most efficient answer. So yeah, sweet. Thank you very much for joining us today on LeetCode Every Day Until I Find a Job. Like I said before, I'm currently an unemployed software engineer. Most of my experience with .NET, a little bit of other experience, but that's kind of where most of it is. So if you guys have any recommendations for the channel or videos you'd like to see, please leave it down in the comments below. Please give this video a like, and maybe if there's enough of us that get together, maybe we could start a Discord or something. But just anybody who wants to join me for the ride and hold each other accountable, let's just get a little bit better each day and keep stacking our days. And thank you very much.